What is the blinking?
Right side. It should be fine.
Should be fine. Ask.
Right.
Is it audible now?
Yes, Swamiji.
Okay.
Good.
ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम् Om, O Bhagavad Gita, with which Partha was enlightened by the Lord Narayana himself, and which was incorporated in the Mahabharata by the ancient sage Vyasa, the Blessed Mother, the destroyer of rebirth, showering down the nectar of Advaita, and consisting of 18 chapters. Upon thee, O Bhagavad Gita, O loving Mother, I meditate. We also sing a name of Sri Ramakrishna, little. Jai Jai Ramakrishna, Jai Jai Ramakrishna, Jai Jai Ramakrishna, Jai Jai Ramakrishna. Jai Jai Ramakrishna, 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 Jai Jai Ramakrishna. Jai Jai Ramakrishna, Jai Jai Ramakrishna, Jai Jai Ramakrishna, Jai Jai Ramakrishna. The knowledge is not in books. Knowledge is within us in the life. That is why we need to remember the Great One, because in and through that life, we can understand what we are studying. So before we go forward, I think David is ready to read from the Gospel of the complete works of Swami Vivekananda. David.
This is the whole history of man. Finer and finer becomes the veil. More and more of the light behind shines forth, for it is its nature to shine. It cannot be known. In vain we try to know it. Were it knowable, it would not be what it is, for it is the eternal subject. Knowledge is a limitation. Knowledge is objectifying. He is the eternal subject of everything. The eternal witness in this universe, your own self. Knowledge is, as it were, a lower step, a degeneration. We are that eternal subject already. How can we know it? It is the real nature of every man, and he is struggling to express it in various ways. Otherwise, why are there so many ethical codes? Where is the explanation of all ethics? One idea stands out as the center of all ethical systems, expressed in various forms, namely, doing good to others. The guiding motive of mankind should be charity towards men, charity towards all animals. But these are all various expressions of that eternal truth that I am the universe. This universe is one. Or else, where is the reason? Why should I do good to my fellow men? Why should I do good to others? What compels me? It is sympathy, the feeling of sameness everywhere. The hardest hearts feel sympathy for other beings sometimes. Even the man who gets frightened if he is told that this assumed individuality is really a delusion, that it is ignoble to try to cling to this apparent individuality, that very man will tell you that extreme self-abnegation is the center of all morality. And what is perfect self-abnegation? It means the abnegation of this apparent self, the abnegation of all selfishness. This idea of me and mind, ahamkara and mamata, is the result of past superstition. And the more this present self passes away, the more the real self becomes manifest. This is true self-abnegation, the center, the basis, the gist of all moral teaching. And whether man knows it or not, the whole world is slowly going towards it, practicing it more or less. Only the vast majority of mankind are doing it unconsciously. Let them do it consciously. Let them make the sacrifice, knowing that this me and mind is not the real self, but only a limitation. But one glimpse of that infinite reality which is behind, one spark of that infinite fire that is the all, represents the present man. The infinite is his true nature. What is the utility, the effect, the result of this knowledge? In these days, we have to measure everything by utility, by how many pounds, shillings, and pence it represents. What right has a person to ask that truth should be judged by the standard of utility or money? Suppose there is no utility, will it be less true? Utility isn't the test of truth. Nevertheless, there is the highest utility in this. Happiness, we see, is what everyone is seeking for. But the majority seek it in things which are evanescent and not real. No happiness was ever found in the senses. There never was a person who found happiness in the senses or an enjoyment of the senses. Happiness is only found in the spirit. Therefore, the highest utility for mankind is to find this happiness in the spirit.
So just now we have heard Swamiji saying, when knowledge is degeneration of that which we are, what we are, that is to be discovered. It is there all the time, but we forget because we are engrossed in this world, in our day-to-day activities, and we have hardly any time to find out what we really are. And that is whatever that highest truth that we see. Yaccha kinchit jagat sarvam drishyate sruyate aviva. Whatever we hear, whatever we see, it is that antarbahishya tat sarvam, within us and outside of us. It is the same divine. Only we forget because somehow we get entangled with this world. And whatever this world shows, we think that we are that. So we have to get rid of this entanglement. Nowadays we hear that quantum entanglement. Whatever happens in one part, the same thing happens, or the reverse thing happens immediately at the same time in other part. So quantum entanglement. Similarly, we are also entangled with this world. We are to get rid of this entanglement. And that is why we are studying Srimad Bhagavad Gita, to find out our own roots, to find out our own real self. So this is the kind of satsang we can say that we have. When we have satsang, satsangatve nissangatvam, So first, when we have this satsang, then we are detached from this world. And nissangate nirmohattam. So what happens when we are nissanga? Then we are not entangled, we are not infatuated with this world. And when we are not infatuated, then what happens? Then comes Nirmal Tattvam. Nirmal Tattvam is then what we really are, that dawn unto us. And then that leads to Jivan Mukti. While living, we are free. What is the freedom? Let us think about that also. Freedom means security. Freedom means that we have something that never ceased to exist. What is that? Immortality. Immortality. That means that we are not dying or not going to die. Body will fall off, but when there is no entanglement with body, then we understand that we are that essence which never dies, and it is full of bliss. As of now, we suffer from various miseries. And there is no end of miseries if we are entangled. Therefore, we are to get disengaged, or we have to get rid of this entanglement. How to get rid of this entanglement? That's the point. That is why Srimad Bhagavad Gita indicates that if we can change our moorings, as of now it is world that we are attached to. Only thing we need to change our attitude. A little attitudinal correction. What is that? We have to make our life God-centric. Now the question comes, what is this God? Where does he sit? On which tree? Whether he has a long tail or whatever. To tell that, Bhagavan has given this wonderful scripture in which he himself says what is that reality, and also how to get him. So we have seen in chapter 8, 8th chapter. So various, in the beginning, some definitions are given in the answer of Arjuna. To answering questions of Arjuna, Bhagavan said, what is that? What is Brahman? Aksharam Brahma Paramam Swabhava Adhyatma Mujjate. Just a little recapitulation because many of us are new and also we keep on forgetting. Therefore, it is always better to remind ourselves a little. The imperishable is the Supreme Brahman. Now, imperishable that is within us. It's not that outside somewhere. Imperishable. Within us something is there which never get destroyed. That we have to find out. Because that will give us security, that will give us bliss, that will give us or remove all our miseries. So, the imperishable is the Supreme Brahman. Its dwelling in each individual body is called Adhyatma. Now we are spiritual. Why we are spiritual? There is in Sanskrit it is called Adhyatmik. Adhyatmik or Adhyatmavad. So Adhyatma. What is this Adhyatma? Lots of time we repeat this. But until or unless we understand the import and meaning and import of the word, it is not clear. Therefore it should be clear. And we keep on forgetting. That is why We have to remind ourselves. So what is that? It is dwelling in each individual body is called Adhyatma. So Atma. We say Brahma and Atma. The same truth, same existence. When we take it collectively, we say Brahma. When it is taken individually, we say Atma. So Adhyatma, it is regarding Atma. The offering in sacrifice which causes the genesis and support, that means whatever we do, if something is created, that's called karma. And we say many times, what is karma? Oh, it is my karma, as if it is my fate. But karma means whatever we do and something is created in return, that is karma. And what is adhibhuta? I am just going through very quickly. We have dwelt on these topics in a great detail. The perishable adjunct is adhibhuta. So you say, oh, this is existing, but after a few, say in our dream, we saw something, but in the morning when we are awake, that disappears. So that is adhibhuta. Similarly, various forms, even our form also keeps on changing, this form. So whatever changes, that is adhibhuta. Adhibhuta ksharo bhava, purusha adhidaivatam. And within this, the purusha, he dwells. That is adhidaivata, that divine spark. And adhiyagya aham evatra. And whatever, I alone am adhiyagya. The perishable adjunct is the adhibhuta. And the indweller in is adhidaiva, adhidaivata. I alone am the adhiyagya here in this body, or best of the embodied. So Bhagavan, God himself, is adhidaiva, adhiyagya. So anyway, this was the beginning, and then there was very important question, what one should remember at the time of death. Death means destruction of this body, not the self that will be dying. So prayana kale manasa chalena bhaktya yukta yoga valena chaiva bhruvor madhye pranam avishya samyak satam param purusham uvaiti divyam. We have already gone through it, that at the time of final departure, how one should concentrate and remember God. And that time what should be done? That sarva dwarani sanyamya mano riti nirdhacha murdhan. That means his total concentration should be on the self, and all other distraction should be stopped. So how can that be done? There should be something to hold on. So Bhagavan gives a symbol on which we can depend. That means Om Ityaka, Iti Ekaksharam Brahma. So what is that? This Brahman. So you can have chanting of Om. So when we chant Om, we can concentrate on that. So this is a something to hold on, and so that the mind does not go to any other direction. What is the purpose of this? The purpose is that we are getting born and suffering and then dying. The same thing is happening over and over again. This should be stopped, because everything that is born will die. Brahma bhuvana loka punaravartino arjuna. Whatever is born will die. Therefore, this system can be stopped when we are one with our real self. So, there Bhagavan also said, what are these that are being created and being destroyed in cyclic order. But there is something which is never created and never destroyed. Purushaha sa paraha partha bhaktya labhyastananya. And that can be achieved by devotion alone. Now here, this is the one thing. What is this devotion? Total surrender, one-pointed attention. So this is now Bhagavan again indicated another thing. So that is a bit tricky to understand. What is the time? So in the beginning we have recited a mantra, Yaccha kinchit jagasarvam. Whatever we see, it is God and God alone. And drishyate shruyate. Whatever we see, whatever we hear, it is God and God alone. So there should be some kind of connection. So there comes this concept of time. Yatra kale tvanavrittim. What is the time one should pass on? What is the ways? What are the ways? So Shukla Gati and Krishna Gati. I'm just reminding what we have already discussed. So two paths are there. One is Shukla Gati, that means that which is effulgent, the path of effulgence. When one goes through that, then there is no return for him. And on the other hand, if Krishna Gati, then one has to return. Now here comes that question. Whatever we do, that is called karma. If it is creating something, as we have just now reminded ourselves. So when we do something, that is karma. When it is offered to God, it is called karma yoga. Karma yoga. Now people do because of some inherent desire that I want to do this. Oh God, please grant me this. Oh, grant me good health. Remove all this disease, etc. It is sakama, with some desire. So it is inferior. It is good. Bhagavan said that all are devotees, all good. Sukruta eva. They are sukruta. But those who remember God without any desire, they are excellent. They excel. So, one thing is sakama karma, that means with some desire. They are worshipping God, but they are not interested in God. They are interested in worldly things. On the other hand, some devotees will be there, they are not interested in worldly things, but they are interested in God alone. Now what kind of God? So, such devotees who want God, they have also two kinds. God with form, God with name. So we call it Saguna Brahma Upasana. Saguna Brahma Upasana means with some attributes, maybe name, form, or attributes, whatever attributes it may be. So Saguna Brahma Upasakas. And then come Nirguna Brahma Upasakas. Because whatever has form or name, it may last long, but it is limited. So they are not interested in limited thing. They want something which is universal, which is beyond all limitations. So they are Nirguna Brahma Upasakas. Now come, how to worship him? So there comes that when we remember him, Saguna Brahma Vishayak, so we call it Upasana. That means when we have some interaction or mental Manasa Vyapara, so that is called Upasana. Like we are meditating. So it is called Upasana, meditating on God. When a mantra is given by your Guru, he tells how to do Upasana. But when it is done with physical activities, so then it is Upasana and Karma also. So we can say it has both the components. It has some Karma Yoga, some activities are going on. At the same time, it has some one factor of Upasana. That is why even Puja, Japa, Adhamo Bhava, they are lower in category. But we should not jump, we are higher, not to think that way. Rather, we are to be humble and gradually we are to go step by step. So, first, the outer worship is very important, but gradually one goes to Upasana. And after that, one goes to even Brahma Sadbhava, Uttama Brahma Sadbhava, Dhyana Bhavastu Madhyama. So Brahma Sadbhava, that all being or whatever is there, it is Brahman alone. Brahman alone exists. So all these are enumerated here. Only I would like to clarify this one, that what is Shukla Gati and Krishna Gati. We find in Prashna Upanishad. So everything, when everything is God, how that can be seen? Because we see daytime, we see night, we see, say, warm season like summer and sometimes winter, as now winter is approaching. We see varieties, how that can be thought this way. So here, concept of two things are given. One is prana and second is rai. Prana and rai. One is the eater and second is eaten. So this is a bit difficult to understand, so I'll be very brief. Just I'll read out what it says. The sun is verily prana and food is verily the moon. Whatever is gross or subtle is but food. The gross, as distinguished from the subtle, is certainly food of the subtle. So this is, just to have this idea that everything is Brahman and it has various manifestations. So now, then the fact that the sun, while rising, enters into the eastern direction, thereby it absorbs into its rays all the creatures in the east, that it enters into the south, that it enters into west, that it enters into the north, that it reaches the nadir and the zenith, that it enters the intermediate points of the zodiac, that it illumines all thereby, it absorbs all living things into its rays. So Upanishad is trying to figure out or trying to teach in such a way that we should find it is Brahman who is manifesting in so many forms. Sayesha Vaishwanara, that very one rises up who is prana and fire, who is identified with all creatures and who is possessed of all forms. This very one that has been referred to is spoken of by the mantras. What is the mantra? The realizers of Brahman knew the one that is possessed of all forms, full of rays, endowed with illumination, the resort of all, the single light of all, and the radiator of heart. It is the sun that rises, the sun that possesses 1,000 rays, exists in 100 forms, and is the life of all creatures. Now, after this comes this distinction. The year is verily the Lord of creatures. Of him there are two courses, the southern and the northern, Uttarayana and Dakshinayana, or Dakshinayana and Uttarayana. As to that, those who follow in that way the sacrifices and public good, etc. So, yajna and various kinds of public good that are products of action conquer verily the world of the moon. So, that is Chandrayana. So, you see here is symbolic, it's not moon, it is symbolic. So, it is they who come back, since this is so. Hence, these seers and heaven who are desirous of progeny attain the southern course, Dakshinayana. So, here it is not physical moon, not physical sun, but it is the idea behind it, how to relate those ideas with visible world. Then what is Uttarayana? Again, by searching for the self through the control of the senses and brahmacharya, continence, faith and meditation, they conquer the sun by proceeding along the northern course, that means Uttarayana. This is the resort of all that lives. This is indestructible. This is fearless. This is the highest goal for from this they do not come back. This is unrealizable to the ignorant. Pertaining to this here is a verse. So anyway, this is the thought process that two things are happening. One, those who are Upasaka, Uttarayana, followers of Shukla Gati, what happens to them? They go there and they don't return. Gradually they go to Brahmaloka, and from Brahmaloka they attain their real self. So this is one Gati, and one second is Krishna Gati, that means those who are desirous of worldly things. They are born again and again and suffer. See, when we have desires should accompany some creation, mental creation or physical creation. And with creation comes misery and happiness also, a little happiness, another kind of misery. So now there are three ways. One is Sakama Karmi. They will come and go like this. Dakshinayana, the Krishna Gati. And then Shukla Gati. They do whatever is good, whatever they brahmacharya, and also they totally dedicate themselves to God. So they don't return. What happens? They go to Brahmaloka, and from there they absorb in Brahman. So what happens? That's called Krama Mukti. Now the third one is Sadhya Mukti. Those who understand this, they are not desirous of any fruits of action. They are totally dedicated to God, and then they don't want anything. What happens to them? They are absorbed here itself. By knowing self, one becomes self. Brahmavit Brahmaiva Bhavati. The knower of self. Only thing one should be able to know Brahman here and now. It is not deviated or it is not a post-dated check. It is here and now. It's called Sadhya Mukti. So Sadhya Mukti, Krama Mukti and not Mukti. Mukti means he keeps on being born and death follows. So here this has been discussed here. So time is given Agni, Jyoti, Raha, Shuklaha, fire, flame, day, time, the bright, fortnight, etc. 6 months of the northern passage of the sun. Taking this path, the knowers of Brahman go to Brahman. And on the other hand, so they go to Brahma Loka. And from Brahma Loka, they are absorbed in Brahman. They realize Brahman. So this is Krama Mukti. On the other hand, smoke, night time, the dark fortnight and 6 months of the southern passage of the sun. Taking this path, the yogi attaining the lunar light returns. Return is they are born again and again they go to heaven, and this way this will go on. On the other hand, there is Sadhya Mukti that we have already discussed. Now, Bhagavan said, truly are these bright and dark paths. What are those? Shukla Gati and Krishna Gati of the world, considered eternal. One leads to non-return, by the other one returns. So this is a kind of academic understanding, but it is said that in Brahma Sutra that whenever one dies, see if night is the problem, what happens if someone dies in Uttarayana but in the night? Or what happens if someone dies in Dakshinayana in the daytime? So these are the questions that tormented our scholars. So in Brahma Sutra it is said, Mrityor Dakshinayane api Mriyamano Vidwan Apnoti Eva Vidya Phalam. If someone has cultivated that tendency which is suitable for his emancipation, then nothing can stop him from that. Rather, he gets that Vidya Phalam, the fruit of his cultivation of good thoughts. That is why, we must have this satsang so that we have good thoughts all the time. And dussanga sarvatha varjaniya, as it is said. So because whatever one's company is there, one gradually absorbs that those subtle tanmatra and adopts in one's own character. So after this, Bhagavan lastly said, Vedeshu yajneshu tapahasu chaiva daneshu yat punya phalam pradishtam atyeti tat sarvam idam viditva yogi param sthanam upaiti chatyam. So whatever meritorious effect is declared in the scriptures to accrue from the study of the Vedas or the performance of yajnas, austerities and dana, that means gift, above all this rises the yogi, having known this and attains to the primeval supreme abode. So our goal is this one, that we should cultivate that character. Character is very important. It is the character that leads. So, we are to cultivate that character by which we are not allured by any worldly attractions, neither outwardly attractions, heaven, etc. Rather, we should have resolved to attain that which is imperishable. So that should be there. So this is the background of the 9th chapter. Now what is that and how to achieve it? That is the question. Though Bhagavan has already said, but still that needs some more clarification. Now, moksha does not mean something, something achievable. Moksha means freedom, to be free. Are we not free? According to Advaita, we are free already, but we don't know it. So what we have to do? We don't get freedom. We have to remove the obstacle that prevents us to realize this truth that we are free. It is not something we achieve. It is already achieved. Only we do not know. To know this truth, we have to remove all the obstacles so that we understand that yes, we are free already. So, in Bhagavad Gita, in Vivek Chudamani, Bhagavan says, Moksha Karana Samagriyam Bhakti Reva Garyashi. It is the devotion. Now, devotion does not mean only that sitting in front of God, oh God, what a beautiful nose you have, what a beautiful eyes you have. Eyes, ears, these are external. Rather, we are to cultivate that character. That means that reality that is behind appearance. And how that can be done? Swaswarupa anusandhanam bhakti ritya pare jagu. Bhakti ritya vidhiyate. Moksha karana samagriyam bhakti reva garyasi. So we can get rid of all bondages because of ignorance by devoting ourselves to God totally and without any condition. Moksha karana samagriyam bhakti reva garyasi. And how that can be done? By discovering one's own real self. Swaswarupa anusandhanam bhakti ritya vidhiyate. Now, how to do this? Okay, Swaswarupa anusandhanam. So, why? Am I lost? I am here. Though I am here, but we identify, though we are here, wherever in this body, but we identify with worldly things, worldly connections. There we have to find out our divine connection. That is the point. And there are various ways. One is, I am the servant of God, I am the friend of God, I am peaceful one with God, Shanta, Dasya, Saukya, Vatsalya. I am son of God, or son, God is my son, like Yashoda, who worshipped God as her son. So these are various ways to connect with God. In the beginning, and gradually what happens, one even loses that idea also. That relationship also loses. Triputi Bheda. the knowledge, knower, and to be known. These all three will crumbles. So this is the central topic of ninth chapter. That means what God really is. It's very difficult to find out. He slips from Arya. And later Bhagavan will tell us, Maya tatamidam sarvam jagad avyakta murtina matsthani sarva bhutani nachaham tesya avastita nachaham tesya avastita. Nachamasthani bhutani paschime yogameshwaram bhuta bhrit na bhutastho mamatma bhuta bhavana. Though he is everywhere, yaccha kinchit jagat sarvam. Whatever you see, it is God alone. But not the way that we see. It is mistaken observation, mistaken perception. See, when we dream in and through our consciousness. But are we aware that we are conscious being while dreaming? No. We see those imageries. We don't realize that we are conscious being and I am observing that in and through consciousness. Similarly, in this world also, we see things as it is, with name, with form, with qualities. And that is why we have love or hate relationship. That is why we like something, we don't like something. Whatever goes against our little self, we hate it. But we have to find out here that which pervades like space, akash. That we must have that insight. To cultivate this, here comes ninth chapter. Very important chapter. So we'll start with the text. Idam tu te guhyatamam pravakshyam manasuyave jnanam vijnana sahitam yajnatva moksha se ashubhat. Now again moksha has come, but moksha here means release from ashubha, what is not good, what is not helpful, from evil. So you'll be free from evil. As of now, we are possessed of evils, as it were. So we'll get rid of that. So this is called praising. Before saying something very important, please be alert. So then one becomes very, very alert. Otherwise, so many things God is saying, so this is also saying. So Bhagavan says especially, be alert. Now I'm going to tell you something very special. So he says, to thee who does not carve, verily shall I now declare this, the most profound knowledge. United with realization, having known which, thou shalt be free from evil. That means samsara. That means all your impressions that is not helpful. What is binding you with ignorance. So anasuyave. Anasuya means you don't have asuya. Asuya means hatred towards anyone. So this is suggestion that what one should cultivate, that one should not be hateful, or one should not cultivate hatred towards anyone. So idam tu te guhyatam, this is very, very subtle. So be careful, very, very subtle. Guhyatam, most profound also. Pravakshami anasuyave. Jnanam, not only knowledge, Vijnanam, special knowledge. That means how to translate that knowledge into our in our being, Vijnana Sahitam Yasgyatva Mokshasya, by knowing which you'll get rid of all evil forces and you'll be free. So we go to the next. This is Raj Vidya. Raj Vidya, Raj Guhyam. Pavitram Idam Uttamam. This is also in the praise of this teaching. What is that? This is Raj Vidya. Like, something is royal path. Royal path means like very wide and it is straightforward. We say freeway. So this also, it leads to freeway. So Raj Vidya, Raj Guhyam. But this is very subtle. Raj means royal. Though it is straightforward and it is very wide, but still it is very subtle. Pavitram, it is pure. Idam Uttamam, this is the highest. Uttam, like the superlative. Good, better and best. This is best. So, Raj Vidya, Raj Guhyam, Pavitram, Idam Uttamam. Pratyaksham, Pratyaksha Avagamam. And you will understand immediately. Pratyaksha Avagamam, Dharmyam. That means this is the endowed with immense merit. So it is righteous, dharmam, dharmyam. Susukham kartuvam, and very easy to do. That's what we need. If it is something difficult, say we are not interested. But when it's easier, yes, we say yes, shortcut. So we need some shortcut. So here Bhagavan is ready to give us that shortcut. Yeah. Of sciences, the highest. Of profundities, the deepest. Of purifiers, the supreme. Is this realizable by direct perception, endowed with immense merit, very easy to perform, and of an imperishable nature. Not only that, whatever you will achieve, it will not be lost from you. The investment, when you invest something, what you do? You find a company where return is more and you are very careful about not to lose your capital. So, by this, you'll not lose your capital. Bhagavan is assuring you. Not only you'll not lose your capital, but whatever you'll earn, that will be with you all the time. Now you can understand. Bhagavan is the greatest, that what is that? Agent, they praise their product, advertisers. So, like insurance agent. And we need this. We always are trying to find out an insured path, which we should not lose at any moment. We want to grab our youth, but unfortunately that does not be with us. It trails away from us. We want to keep hold in our money and properties, but everything goes away. Even children, they also go away. But Bhagavan is promising something which is well insured. So let us go a little. The little time is there, but we'll introduce, then we'll develop the ideas. This is my way, or I try to do that way. That first let us have the basic meaning, and then we'll develop this idea. So Bhagavan says, this is very important. Maya tatamidam sarvam. I am pervading everywhere in this world. Maya tatamidam.
Number 3, Shloka
3, yeah. Sorry. Now third is also there. That's also similar. Asraddhadhana purusha dharmasyasya parantapa aprapya mam nivartante mrittu samsar vardhani. So if you don't follow, then what will happen? So one thing is, if you follow, then you will get this benefit. But if you don't follow, then what is the harm? Persons without Shraddha for this dharma return, O scorcher of foes. Though you can be a scorcher of foes, but for even you, if you don't have enough Shraddha, then what will you lose? Without attaining me to the path of rebirth fraught with death. So two ways to tell, even to children we say, if you do, then you will get this benefit. But if you don't do, then what you lose? Therefore, there is no other way but to follow. So God is very prudent in that matter. So after this marketing, then now he enters in a profound truth. And what is that? But it is very simple. Only thing we have to be careful about it. What is that? Maya tatamidam sarvam. Whatever you see, it is pervaded by me. How it is pervaded by me? By abhyakt. Abhyakt means that which is not manifested. Maya tatamidam sarvam jagat abhyakt murtina. I have, say, murti here. Murti means in a form. I have pervaded. I pervade everything by my unmanifested form. And all the bhutas are in me. All beings are in me. But I am not in them. See how he is trying to evade. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. Now he contradicts. This is very important. First he states something and then he contradicts. So adhyaropa and then apavad. No, I am not that. So what he says? Na chamasthani bhutani. In the fourth shloka he says, all the bhutas are in me, but I am not in them. Now he denies that bhutas are also not in me, because there is no bhuta other than me. Nachamasthani bhutani pashyame yogamishra. See my divine aishwarya. Aishwarya means divine, what is that? Say, divine power, you can say. So, nachamasthani bhutani pashyame yogam aishyaram bhuta bhrit nacha bhutastha. Though I am the creator, everything is in me, but I am not in them. Neither they are not in me. Mamatma bhuta bhava. Now I will give one example before we leave today. Then you will understand a little of this. Say dream. In your dream, you are the only entity who pervades in and through the whole dream. Nobody goes there. XYZ never goes there. It is you and you alone. So in one way you can tell that I pervade everything of my dream, and all the creatures or the figures of dream are in me. And then, so all bhutas are in me, but I am not in them. Why? Because I am separate. When I woke up, they are not there. So in one way, in and through the whole dream, it is you, but you are not in them. Again, nachamasthani bhutani. Those bhutas are also not in me, because I am the truth. If they are to exist in me, they also should have that but they disappear. When you wake up, your world that you dreamt in your dream also disappears. How can you say that they existed in you? Nacha matsthani bhutani. They are only creation of our ignorance. Pashyame yoga maishram. So you also do the same thing. Not only Bhagavan. Bhuta bhrit nacha bhutastha. Mamatma bhut bhavana. So I'll read the meaning quickly. All this world is pervaded by me in my unmanifested form, like space, akasha. Yatha akasha sthito nityo vayu sarvatra go mahan. So akasha, see here, akasha is in and through us all. So one can say that all we are in akasha. But akasha you can have separate. Even this form will disappear one day, still akasha will be there, like our dream. So all this world is pervaded by me in my unmanifested form. Unmanifested form. All beings exist in me, but I do not dwell in them. So I am greater than all these existences. Nor do beings exist in me, because these are figment of our imagination. Like our stock example, though we may see water on a mirage, but water does not exist. It is seeming. Similarly, this world, with its name and form and qualities, these are only apparent. It's not real. And what is not real, it may look real, but it has no existence of its own. Therefore, it is only seeming in vyavahara, in transactional value, not in real value, paramarthika. So though I am bhuta bhrit, bringing forth and supporting the beings, myself does not dwell in them. You do not dwell in your dream. Okay, Swami, it's a dream, you tell many times. Okay, I'll give another example. You write a story. In and through that story, it is you and you alone. But you are not touched by that story, because you can change that one. You write today this way, and tomorrow you can change and write in a different way. So you are not in them, but still somehow, because it is your imagination, you see like that. A magician, he creates something, and you are dumbfounded. How this happened? But he knows it is only a trick of his sleight of his hands. So though he creates, but he is not in them. You may be a painter. You may paint something. Oh, say, and you say cow, a tiger is attacking a cow, but there is no tiger, no cow. It's only paint. So all these examples are there by which we understand that though God is pervading everything, God alone is real. We have to find that. God means here our real self. When we say God, then we try to find out where that God is. Whether he is sitting on a tree or on some planet or something like that. But God is within us. We have to find this, and he is pervading everything. By his unmanifested form, we have to try to figure it out, what is being said. So now we can understand what he marketed in the beginning has real value. No? So we'll stop here. I'm sorry for extending the time a little. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tatsat. Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. So this should not give that God is only like dry or something. We'll see in our next class. But next class, we are very fortunate that Swami Aparanand is coming. So I have requested him to conduct this Sunday class, and he'll have a little variation. That will be wonderful. And not only that, he has agreed to conduct some satsang on Thursday, Friday and Saturday. He'll be here for about a week or so. So we'll meet next time whenever we meet, hopefully. Okay, we'll now have some.
How sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now am found. Was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to feel, and grace my fears relieved. How precious did that grace appear the hour I first believed. Through many dangers, toils and snares, we have already come. 'Twas grace that brought us safe thus far, and grace will lead us home. The Lord has promised good to me, His word my hope secure. He will my shield and portion be, as long as life endures. Yea, when this flesh and heart shall fail, and mortal life shall cease, I shall possess within the veil a life of joy and peace. When we've been here 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun, we've no less days to sing God's praise than when we first begun. Amazing